the agronomist for Ag Laboratory and Consulting, and today we are going to install a irrigation monitoring logger from Irrigation Management Services. So the first step of the installation for the logger will be installing the scaffolding. In any permanent crops, you'll have a much taller scaffolding than say a row crop, but the concept is still the same. We utilize augers on a handheld electric drill, which makes the process that much easier. So we'll go ahead and start the augering process and get the scaffolding in place. So go ahead, Mike, and as we dig a hole for the scaffolding, a lot of the times we'll dig it quite a bit deeper than this particular length, just so that we can get enough under the subsurface to support the scaffolding. Also, a good opportunity at this time is to actually make a paste with the augering soil, and then that allows for it to set tight to support the scaffolding. Okay, so obviously this isn't deep enough for demonstration purposes, though. We'll use this in the process. So typically we'll go about 2 to 3 feet when we're dealing with large 20-foot scaffoldings. Whenever we're dealing with row crops, they're typically only a foot at most. So let's go ahead and pack this in, and we'll mount the box as well. So this is the logger from IMS. This is the logger box. We can run up to 6 different sensors on this particular box. It comes with a solar panel, and then this here, what we're going to demonstrate today with is our HSTI volumetric or capacitance probe. This probe is very versatile, especially in drier conditions, and so we tend to use this in our permanent crop settings for a sensor. They work very well. We can get these up to 32 inches and even larger if a grower warrants it, but for today we're just going to demonstrate with a 12-inch sensor. So when we start to install the actual box on the scaffolding, we tend to use zip ties. Typically it's quick and easy with regards to if you ever need to remove the actual site. If not, then you can go ahead and double up on this, and typically they'll last for quite a while. So we install the box at usually about chest height. If you're lower, obviously lower to the ground on row crops. So we'll go ahead and mount this solar panel. The solar panel has to be facing southwest at all times, and the reason for that is to get the most exposure to the sun during the day length to charge the batteries, so we can have power through the night and have consistent power. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and have Mike. Typically we'll scaffold these all the way up to the top of the scaffolding, but today we'll just mount it reachable height. So go ahead and mark it or tie up there. Okay, so the next step, we'll clean this all up, the wiring, everything up once we're done installing. But the next step is to auger down and install in this case, the HSTI probe. This probe, what we'll do is we'll auger down. If we're augering 32 to 40 inch deep, what we'll do is we'll actually collect the soil that we auger out at every foot and put those in a separate bucket to create a saturated paste, so that when we go and reinstall or actually install the unit, we will actually put the paste back in the order it came out. And so what that does is it keeps the consistency of the soil texture the same, and what's consistent with the actual true environment within the soil. So what we'll start now is I'll have Mike go ahead and start augering down. In this case, it's only going to be 12 inches, and so we'll go ahead and demonstrate that process as well for the installation. These installs of these particular probes can be done even by a shovel, as long as you have the ability to dig as deep as you need. The deeper you go, obviously, tends to have more challenges with shoveling, but these typically work really well, or even using a gas auger with a larger bit works well as well. All right, so what we tend to do is we'll come in and we'll actually test, see how deep we are. Obviously we need to go a little bit deeper, because we want to have this orange cap flush with the soil of the surface, or the surface of the soil. Okay, so we'll refit it. And in this case, we're a little deep, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take, if we had some buckets of saturated paste in there, we'd actually dump that in, but in this case, we'll just dump it in, and we'll refit it, so it's about there. So in this case, we're gonna go ahead and just backfill the augered soil. And then if we are fitting this properly, what we would want to do is come in, take this auger soil. We didn't collect it here, but typically we'd take that, put it in a bucket, make a really soupy saturated paste, so pretty much just water with the soil that came out of the hole. And then what we'll do is we'll backfill it back into here. Typically, running a larger diameter hole will give you a better ability to pour that saturated paste down in here. So we want full contact. The walls of this sensor has to be in contact 100% all the way through the length of the sensor with the soil. And to accomplish that, typically we'll take these shavings, dump them in the soil or into the hole, and then as in the sense of saturated paste, and then what we come through is we'll come down and push this into it. And once we're down all the way, it's installed. And then in the sense of the installation of the sensor, what we'll do is look at the data, make sure the data is consistent. And that kind of sums up, how to install these particular sensors. Okay. So once we've gotten the sensor installed and the box mounted on the scaffolding, obviously what I would recommend is making sure that you zip tie your wiring to the scaffolding, make it look nice and clean. Theoretically, we have the scaffolding and the solar panel facing southwest. The next step is to actually turn the unit on. And so when you get into the unit, you're going to open up the box, and this is what you're going to see inside. And the only thing you have to do and worry about is there's a switch right here. That's an on and off switch. Just click that to on. You're going to see a blue light turn on here, and you're pretty much got power and you're ready to go. It should start to blink after a few seconds, and the box is now operational. You'll have to go in when we set these up. We'll send you a activation email to activate your account, and then you're able to log in and actually view all the data that's associated with your boxes as a client. So typically, what we'll do is we'll shut this up. I would put either a lock here, or we can put a security screw in one of these corners, which will prevent people from tampering with the box. And that's pretty much it with the IMS loggers. These loggers are very versatile. They can go in a number of different cultural practices, permanent crops, row crops. They're very, they withstand the elements. They're waterproof, and we're able to utilize a bunch of different sensors. The capacitance probes, which you see here, tensiometers, ambient temperature, so your air temperature. We also have pressure switches that we actually monitor irrigation, and it actually timestamps when the irrigation occurred and how long it ran for and what the PSI is. So these are very versatile boxes. They drive a lot of information to your platform to understand what your operation is doing at any time. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Ag Laboratory. You can visit us on the web at www.aglaboratory.com or call us at 805-739-5333. And we thank you for visiting us with and kind of seeing how this piece of equipment is utilized and installed in the field. So thank you from Ag Laboratory, and we'll see you in the field.